What up, y'all? Part two of the Nadaka study. If you guys have not watched part one, highly suggest you guys go check that out. Some of the material from part one will be bleeding over into today, but we'll be discussing a lot of other new work. The meat of today, we'll be discussing Nadaka's hand fighting or his hand controls. We'll also be talking about some of the footwork, a little bit of clinch game, and also we'll be discussing some potential holes in Nadaka's game that future opponents could take advantage of. So let's go ahead and check that out. Before we do, if you guys are watching anywhere where these segments here are blurred out, you guys can peep the full version with those unblurred segments in the Patreon link below. Let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to first start by discussing some of Nadaka's footwork. And as I had mentioned earlier, this will be a little bit of bleed over from the first installment in this series because we're going to be talking about the body splitting. Now, I wasn't able to include this segment on the first installment just for sake of time. And you guys will see this is a 20 plus second segment. So there's quite a bit of information here. But I did want to make sure to share this with you guys because you will see just how many options for defense that Nadaka has available to him simply by this one principle of body splitting or splitting the body. Now, those of you guys who have not watched the first installment, to be very brief, splitting the body is constantly staying off of the opponent's center line such that one side of the opponent's offense is going to take a little bit longer in order to reach you. So, for example, the most common way that we see this playing out is circling away from the opponent's power side. So if my power side is here and you circle off towards this direction, now it's going to take me longer to hit you with that power side. And we're going to see that we have a southpaw versus a southpaw in this segment, but we're going to see just how difficult it is for the opponent to land his rear side offense. So let's go ahead and check it out. So from here, we're going to start. The opponent is going to be stalking Nadaka, and when he stalks, pay attention to the teep feint game. So he's going to be lifting up that lead leg. Nadaka is going to step off towards his left. The teep feints, and because he stepped away from that rear side, he's able to check and return that head kick. As soon as that head kick is done, he's going to start moving off towards his left. So making space away from that opponent power side. We see the teep feints, and another rear side kick is going to miss. And because Nadaka is going to opt to step back, he shows some feints for the offense, gets the opponent defensive, and immediately right back off towards his left. Teep feints as the opponent advances again, and stepping back. That rear kick is not going to hit, and I'm going to step off towards my left again. Teep feints again. Nadaka is going to set up his offense with that rear kick, and he again steps off towards his left. The opponent's trying to stalk again. Nadaka is able to simply step back in response to that teep, and again, where does he go? Off towards the left. Hollows his body out because he's far from that rear kick, and this is the money work right here, guys. He makes that opponent commit past center line as he misses that rear kick, and that's when he can start showing a little bit of his advancing and his offense. So, guys, very, very simple work. This is not crazy advanced footwork. It's not that crazy shuffling, the ollie shuffling and things like that you guys see on Instagram. This is basic circling off towards your left and taking steps back. When you can lull the opponent into that rhythm and you can make the opponent want that offense that's not going to be able to land, it's not going to happen immediately. You notice this was 20 plus seconds of work, but once you get them comfortable trying to stalk you, comfortable trying to throw that rear side offense, you can get them to commit past that center line and then start initiating forward moving offense of your own. Now, from that last segment, you can see how Nadaka almost sandwiched his work, or whether it's offensive or defensive work, between circling left. So he would circle left, throw offense or defense, and then immediately circle left again. And why is that? Because the best time to take advantage of someone is when they get lazy after their offense or their defense. So he's really quick with, I'm going to do what I got to do, but then immediately I'm not going to get lazy. I'm not going to stand in one spot. I'm going to immediately dip out of there. Now, using that body splitting can line us up for our offense. So what do I mean by that? If this is my opponent's center line right here, and I move to one side or the other of the center line, that's going to line up my work, whether it's my shoulder or my hip. So, for example, if I'm standing in front of my opponent, now I'm splitting his center line with my center line. So, from here, if I circle or move in this direction here, now my right shoulder is lined up with the opponent's center line, which is probably going to be his jaw, his chin, whatever it is. Same thing, my right hip is a little bit more aligned with his center line, which can either mean his head, his body, his leg, whatever it may be. Now, we are going to see Nadaka play that exact same principle. He's going to be moving off towards his left. As he moves off towards his left, the opponent is going to be stalking him, but we see that he has lined up his lead side, his left side's hip, such that that kikuno kick can come up and have very little distance to travel because, again, he set it up by getting his stance aligned just to the side of the opponent's center line, such that that left hip doesn't have to travel that far. That left leg doesn't have to travel that far. He's able to hit that kikuno kick as he exits off towards his left. And again, what does he do as soon as he hits that kick? He's going to get right back on to moving to the left. And this makes it really difficult for people to stalk you. Again, and we touched on this in the last installment, but if you're standing in front of me, I can stalk you and put smoke on you. But if you constantly make me reorient, now before I can start letting my hands, letting my legs go, I have to make sure that I can reorient so I can fire on you from a proper stance. It's real awkward to go like this if I'm facing you. So you force them to reorient and then work. Now, this next segment, the footwork is so small, so minuscule, but this has such a high yield. And guys, at the highest levels, you don't see huge motions. Because why? You're gonna play a huge motion, and then the opponent is going to be also high level, and he's going to see it, and he's going to be able to know what to expect. At the highest levels, small motions are king. Small motions are going to be able to be executed without really setting off the alarm bells with the opponent. So this is something that Pernell Whitaker, this movement, Pernell Whitaker used this so well. Highly suggest you guys go check out some of his footage. I may have a breakdown from a long time ago on Pernell Whitaker on the Patreon. I'm not 100% sure, but I have a bunch of notes for it, so I'm not 100% sure if I actually made it into a breakdown or not. Comment below if you'd like me to put out a Pernell breakdown. But he used this so beautifully, and it's going to be retreating footwork, but not retreating straight back. He's taking small angles off towards his left as a southpaw, and we see that Nadaka is a southpaw as well. We're going to see small retreating diagonal steps off towards the left. Now, what does that do? It creates distance between you and your opponent, obviously, but it is also going to allow you a head start on cutting that angle. So let's go ahead and check this out. We're going to see the opponent is going to be stalking Nadaka. He's towards the corner. Look at that rear foot. See how that rear foot is moving diagonally? That's going to set him up, allow him to pull on the opponent's shot, fire his counter offense, and immediately, what does he do? Same thing that we talked about in the last segments. Immediately, he's not going to get lazy and stay there after his offense. He circles off towards his left and gets out of the corner. So let me not bury the lead any longer. Let's get to the meat of this study, which is the... Guys, thank you all so much for watching. This is going to conclude the Nadaka series. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment it below. Also, if you are watching anywhere where these segments are blurred, you guys can check the full version on the Patreon, patreon.com/boringbreakdowns. It is also linked in the description below. You guys will also get access to all of the other long-form work. We just finished a study on Merab and Pyotr Yan from this past weekend. We got work on Fyodor Emelianenko. We got work on Yuki Yoza, Nicolino Loche, and tons of others. So go ahead and check that out. It's also the best way to support the work. But if you'd like other ways to support, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to the channel is also a huge help. I appreciate you guys. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.